Okay.
We're going live.
We're going live. Are we live?
We're live.
All right.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Welcome. Got a very exciting webinar for you all today. I'm joined by Pavan Agarwal, CEO of Sunwest and Celligence. And our special guest today is Joanna Odabashian. Did I say that one right?
Odabashian, but it's very close.
Odabashian.
You got
Right.
pretty. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
I am so excited about this webinar. I've been looking forward to this for, was it 2 weeks now since we discussed you coming on?
Yeah.
And the reason I'm so excited is because I met you in person for the first time at Mindset Summit in Vegas, right?
Right.
About a month ago, which was just an amazing conference. You did a great presentation, and I really got to know you. And I said, Joanna has got the heart of a lion. And you're just like, you're crushing it. And what I said earlier is I believe you're like the number one broker in the universe. At least this half of the universe.
I think we have the number one real estate office in the universe too, in my heart. Yeah.
Well, the numbers are pretty big. It's like something like 17,000 transactions in the last few years. And that's Fresno. This is, it's like a small town. It's not LA, right? So, can you imagine if you were in LA or Orange County, that'd probably be 170,000 transactions. So
that'd be wonderful. I would love that.
So if you adjust it for the size of the town, it's very big. What's the average loan amount or average sales price in Fresno?
Our average sales price right now is just about 400,000.
That's pretty good.
We have the city of Fresno, which would be right there at 400. And then if you did something in Clovis, it would probably be like 454, 480, just depending. But yeah. Okay.
So the big burning question, there's a lot of realtors watching this today and a lot of loan officers, but it's mostly realtors in these webinars. And the big burning question is, Joanne, were you born with the heart of a lion, or is that something you nurtured and grew?
No, I was born with the heart of a lion. I have a very caring and compassionate heart, and I love to help people succeed. In my first career, I was a bilingual elementary school teacher, and I taught 4th and 5th grade. And in my second career, I was a high school teacher, and I taught second language learners how to speak English. And now here I am. I've been in real estate since 2006. I quit teaching cold turkey and sold for 3 years before becoming the CEO and one of the co-founders of Keller Williams Fresno. And so I think I was born with the heart of a lion.
And I bet teaching children is a lot easier than teaching salespeople.
That is not true. You know what I realized from going from 5th grade to 11th grade? I remember sitting in class one day having the realization that there was no difference between an 11th grader and a 5th grader. They were still somebody's kid, and that somebody had a hope and a dream and wanted them to become the best that they could be. And they wanted them to be safe in my classroom all day. And then going from 11th grade to working with adults, it's no different. They're somebody's person, and they come to work every day with hopes and dreams and something that they want to accomplish. And so together we do that. Well
said. And that actually reminds me of a study I read recently talking about there's a false impression out there, that old proverb that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And there's a study that actually says that the capacity of the human brain to learn doesn't change at all through the entire life. Huh. So the capacity to learn new habits and to learn new skills is basically the same until the very end, until you get in mental decline.
I 100% agree. And I think that I would adjust the saying a little bit, and it's, you can bring a horse to water and he'll drink if he's thirsty. Right. And I have 2 college-age kids, and right now I wish that I could impart in them being fearless, because I remember when I graduated from high school thinking that there were like 10 jobs that were available out there. And I was first going to be a nurse, and then 2 years in decided, no way, I'm not doing that. And then I, went to school to become a teacher. And now if I were to go back to college, I would not be afraid of anything. I might pick some wild career that I maybe had been afraid of, because I do think your capacity for learning never goes away. And now the idea of all of the jobs I hear out there, it's like, wow, I wish I would have known about that back then, because now I wouldn't be afraid, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm sure your children inherited your heart, your lion's heart as well.
thank you.
Okay. So for all the salespeople that are watching, and essentially you built this brokerage from nothing to this huge, massive business that you have today. What is the number one or number two advice you would give them for everyone who's trying to build their business, and wants to learn from your example that you've set?
You show up every day for work.
Good advice.
You do. You show up every day for work. The activities I do today are likely going to produce a result in 90 days. It doesn't happen overnight. And I feel fortunate because I have a really good business model to follow, and having come from a teacher background and knowing about lesson plans, to me, a business model is just that. And when you have an award-winning lesson plan and you stick to it, great things happen. And it has not been easy. I'll be completely transparent about that. I've won lots and I've lost more, and I've learned a whole lot along the way. But growing a business takes a lot of time. I'm 15 years in. This week, we're celebrating the completion of our 14th year in business and the start of our 15th year.
Congratulations.
And thanks. Sometimes I feel like we're so far behind, and I think, oh my God, I really thought we would be there by now. And then other times I think to myself, holy smokes, I can't believe we've done all we've done. But my life, I will tell you this, has dramatically changed. And had I not made a move and left teaching like I did, the last 15 years wouldn't have happened, and our lives wouldn't be different. But also I think about all of the people that have come through our doors, and even those who have left our doors. I hope that the time that they've spent with us has made them better and made our industry better as a whole. So
Okay, so rule number one is come to work every day and work hard.
that's right.
And the second lesson, I'm just summarizing what you said. The second lesson I heard from that is there's going to be a lot of setbacks, and don't give up.
That's right.
Yeah, and that actually reminds me of the guest speaker we had on 2 weeks ago, Eloy, and he had an incredible story of how how he didn't give up and got 16 years old, got across and into the States and through incredible adversity, and it was just that whole.
Is amazing. His story is amazing.
Yeah.
I think I have an amazing story, but I don't have. I never had to experience that.
Yeah. Yes.
That
So
is,
you saw that presentation.
yes. Well,
Yeah.
and he was at the Mindset Summit too, and
Yes,
I
yes,
just
he
sat
was.
there thinking, yeah, I've had my own hard story, but nothing like his. And sometimes I think in the moments where it's the hardest, then you hear somebody else's and you think, oh, I'll take my story over his, and anytime. So yeah.
That's exactly right. And the lesson there was, he kept going when he was about to throw in the towel and just go back. Right.
Yeah.
It was just a little bit too much. He kept going and he made it. right? And I think it's always the darkest, just about when you're about to cross and break through. And I'm going to quote one of my favorite bands, The Doors, "Break on through."
Yeah. To the other side.
Just when you're ready to break on through is when you're going to feel the most psychological pressure to not cross over.
I think a lot of people are kind of teetering on that right now. You know, everything that's going on in our market is kind of crazy. And in the last 2 days, I've actually seen 2 positive headlines go across my inbox. And one was someone's forecast for 2024 and how sales will increase and interest rates will go down. And my immediate thought was, oh my gosh, I have to get in front of my team, my office. And I did yesterday, and tell them, look, right now you're training for what's going to happen in 2024. And we, you know, in California, we're experiencing an extreme shortage of inventory. Our California Association of Realtors has even adjusted the number of closed transactions down as low as 279,000 closed transactions for our whole state. And in the Western region, so NAR, National Association of Realtors, divides us up into 4 regions. And so NAR's predicting about 4 million homes sold nationwide. And our region, the Western region, is slated to have about 770,000 of those transactions, 279 of them coming from California. And that's down, Pavan, a lot. Like normally we're trending closer and have trended closer to 400,000 in California. But with this slowdown comes a great opportunity. And one is to relearn something that I think a lot of people forgot how to do, and that's how to market themselves. You know, we didn't have to market in the last few years because everything was fast, right? Interest rates made it so that people walked through our doors, and it required little to no effort on our part as real estate agents. We just had to be skilled negotiators and really patient at presenting multiple offers or multiple, you know, counter offers. And now we've got an opportunity where we have a little bit of a slower market. In Fresno, we have 1.1 months supply of inventory. That's it. So if no one listed, we'd be out of homes to sell, and I'd be out of a job in 1.1 months. But that's not going to happen, right? So now we can teach our agents how to market themselves better, how to nurture their databases and really build solid, you know, relationships, and also how to get things in order that they've wanted to get in order, that they've said, oh man, if this market would just slow down a little bit, I'd do A, B, and C, so that they're ready for October, because all of the activities that they do in October are going to set them up for a really good January. Yeah. And that's not a long way away.
That isn't, just a few months. Time flies.
Yeah.
We're almost in 2024 or halfway there.
I know. And that's what makes me excited. I'm like, oh, we're almost through this.
Yeah. Well, the good news on this, well, maybe bad news from an inventory perspective, is inflation came below expectation last time. About, 0.1% below expectation. The Fed has signaled, they said that this would be the last rate hike, but now recently they've said that it may be more. And we'll see where inflation clocks in the next month. But my personal belief is that inflation has peaked out, that it's going to keep falling. But one of the biggest components of inflation is home prices. And with the lack of inventory, that's going to drive it up. But the Fed looks at the two, with and without home prices. They look at inflation. They're mainly concerned about what's the cost of eggs and milk, right? That's that's what affects the average everyday Americans. So I think for the everyday commodities, I believe inflation is steadily heading downwards. It's not going to fall as fast as it rose, but I believe we're in the downward trend. I don't think there will be a subsequent Fed rate hike. I think they're leaving the option on the table. So what that means is hopefully there is a budget deal on the debt ceiling this week. We don't default. That would be insane if we do. So that means if the day there's a budget deal, there will be a rally in the treasury markets. And we'll see some relief in the rates. But in general, I believe rates are going to leak downwards over the next 12 months. I don't think they're going to fall like a rock, but they're going to leak downwards slowly. And all that does do is create more pressure on housing inventory. And
that's a problem in our area because we're not building enough.
Yes. But I think it has the good side on that is I think we'll have a fairly even winter this year in the sense that usually real estate comes to a crawl in December, November, December, the holiday season. But I think this Christmas, because of this backlog, I think there's going to be continuous flow of real estate, and because of rates leaking downwards and this backlog of activity. So hopefully we have, for all the realtors and loan officers that are listening right now, hopefully we have a fairly smooth and even holiday season. And I think that's good for everyone from a cash flow perspective.
Yeah. So I was reading recently about the locked-in effect and about how in California, people are staying in their homes. Like when I got in the business, the average time a person spent in their home was 7 years. And now we're up to 19 years in California, which is crazy. I've never lived in a home for 19 years. But anyway, I hope that there's more people out there like me. But something interesting is that the number of Freddie Mac loans that are under from 5 to 5.99% in California right now, it's 1%. And everything else is under 4.99%.
That's right.
It's crazy to me. And I guess it could be discouraging to some, but I think about life events, right? People, and this is why I think you've got to stay in touch with your contacts. And by the way, I just uploaded 497 into Morgan. So you guys can help me stay on top of those. I want one call every 13 weeks. I was really, really specific in my directions. But life events happen, right? And you never know when a life event, even if you think I've got a 2.62% interest rate on my house and I'm never going to move, well, something in my life could move, and I might have to sell as a result of that. So I think it's really important to nurture all of your relationships because you just don't know.
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead.
When we moved to Fresno, I was 7. We moved from Orange County. We lived at 2222 East Hoover. I posted about this morning. And a life event took us away from Orange County and brought us here to Fresno. And my parents bought a house on 8th Street, and it was 1981, and our interest rate was over 17%.
Okay. I'm going to take a pause here for a moment. I'm going to remind our audience that on YouTube live stream, you can ask questions, and I am monitoring the questions. I'd be love to answer your questions. And I see Andrea says Morgan rocks, and my response is I love you, Andrea. So does Morgan. So please feel free to ask your questions on YouTube live stream. And on that note, you just recently uploaded 500-ish leads into Morgan. That is really exciting. Angel, can you show the rest of the audience how they can have AI do the lead prospecting for them?
Yeah, absolutely. And while I'm bringing it up, Joanna mentioned a great point about all of the things that we talk about with Morgan and how to do things. You can tweak. So Joanna, you mentioned you want one call every 13 weeks. How did you tell Morgan what you wanted?
So I did it 2 ways. First, I uploaded a document that had the script that I wanted to use. And I also put on there what my goals were. And just because I thought whoever's helping Morgan with this task kind of needs to know what I'm thinking long term. There's some additional information that I need from these people. I'd like to know if they're renters or owners. I may not have a physical address for all of them. And so I kind of put some of my goals in there above my script. And then I have a tagging system, and these people are already tagged. And so my tagging system, I explained. And then when after I uploaded that, Morgan asked me a series of questions. And one of them is, how frequently would you like me to contact these people? And so my answer was once every 13 weeks. So quarterly in my mind.
Excellent. So one of the things that the contact process is, they don't give up. Right. So by contact, they're going to try to make an actual phone contact every 13 weeks. So when they start, they follow a schedule. They make 5 attempts on the first day, right? So if there's no pickup, they'll try 5 times until they get a pickup, and then the 4 attempts the second day, and so on until they make a contact, right? So it's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 plan. Then after that, it'll go into a automated e-blast campaign. Okay, and then 13 weeks later, starts all over again.
That's great, because that coupled with the smart plans that I have set up, because I invite them to client events, or if we're doing a community service project together as an office, they're hearing from me. So I just figure the extra touches can't hurt, and it'll also help me weed out the ones who I don't need to be nurturing.
Yes, and you'll get a report at least once a week from Morgan of everything that happened to those leads. And I think any day now we're going to have a new upgrade to Morgan, where you'll be able to go to Morgan and ask her for a report as of right now, and she'll give you a full, complete analysis of what is happening to your leads as of this very moment.
I would really love it if I could get more of my agents to, if they don't have the time to do it, great, I'll do it for them.
Yeah.
But my thought is having an ISA is a luxury, and everyone should take advantage of it.
Yeah, and I think don't spoil them. Don't do it for them. It's so easy. Just have them go in, and it's sooner or later you're gonna have to, like you said, the horse has to drink the water eventually.
Well, our company, I have to tell you this, our company just wrote this ISA playbook, and it's good. It is really, really good. It's a lot of pages too. But I like free the best.
Yeah.
And
it's easy to do. And I'll show you all on the call right now just how quick and easy it is to do. So here goes. Hop into usemorgan.com, hit let's chat. And here I just tell her I've got a bulk file of leads for you to follow up on. And she's going to ask for the file. So there's that paperclip icon right there in the system. So I can browse for my file. So if you have them, in a CRM, just export them, send them over to Morgan. She's going to ask what you want done, phone call, email, or both. And then she's also going to allow you to provide your own custom email templates and phone scripts. So again, I just use that paperclip icon to browse for the files and give her the email template I want used, the phone script that I want used. So you can make it really personal to your business and specific. And then to Joanna's point, if there's anything specific you want done, just tell Morgan at that time. I know I talked to another realtor who wanted, rather than his personal phone number for warm transfers, when the Morganistas make contact and the lead is ready to talk to the realtor, wanted a different phone number used. So all of those little tweaks that you want to make, things that you want to be really specific about with Morgan, just like you were talking to your ISA. Talk to Morgan that way and just let her know what, if any, changes you want made.
She asked me a bunch of questions after I had everything uploaded, including that question that you just asked. Which phone number do you want to use? She asked a whole series of questions. It was really very easy. I'm kind of sad and embarrassed that I put it off for so long.
It's everyone is not everyone puts it off for a while because it's like anything new. It feels awkward, right? But once you get into it, you'll have so much fun with it.
I can't wait till she can book lunch reservations for me.
That's in the works. The next version of Morgan, I'm gonna let this out. You pull it out of me, Joanna. The next version of Morgan. See what a good salesperson you are. You just pulled it out of me. The next version of Morgan is a full-blown personal assistant. So there was a Harvard business did a review. I did a study, and the average person spends 41% of their daily life doing work that a personal assistant can do. So Morgan's goal is to return that 41% of your life back to you. And that is why AI, when I was on Fox News, I said AI is adding to the economy. And this is because, the best analogy is washing machines. Before there was washing machines inside everyone's homes, how much time you spent through the day just doing laundry. Okay, and now you can't live without these appliances, because if you didn't have them, you would lose hours every day. It's the same thing. Morgan is a appliance that everyone will not, AI is an appliance that everyone needs. And yes, it's difficult, it's hard to imagine this today when most people aren't familiar with AI, but the future and like the immediate future, and you as a realtor, you're experiencing this right now, is you drop in leads and the AI is taking care of it. And it's going to do more and more, which is order you lunch, manage your schedules, auto respond to your emails, all this kind of stuff. That's all in the works. And that next version of Morgan, when we have it as a full-blown personal assistant that does, makes a serious dent in that 41%, the next version of Morgan will be, we named it after our favorite person here, Angel. The next version of Morgan is AngelAi.com.
Aww.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
How neat.
Public
I
announcement.
think you kind of look like the ballerina too.
I might throw out my back trying to do that move.
After I met you for the first time, I'm like, oh, there's the inspiration.
Yeah. So mortgage is Morgan, kind of makes sense, right? But as a personal assistant, right, we figured everyone needs a guardian angel to help them with the credit, their finances, so forth. So that's why we came up with AngelAi.
Well, I hope I didn't make you spill the beans, but I did ask her if she could book or set a lunch reservation for me at Pismo's Coastal Grill for next week. And she told me she couldn't do that yet. So that's how I knew, because she said yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh,
yeah. That will come that's all coming. All of those capabilities are coming to Morgan. It's just training the AI to do with these things. And I get to be under the hood and in the lab. I get to put my white lab coat on and walk through and talk to the engineers. And I get to see what they're doing, and I see how close it is. And it's so exciting. So exciting. And so when it's ready, when it's ready means all the little details have to work correctly, because we can't have a consumer have a bad experience. We don't want you to say, I want a reservation at whatever Coastal Grill, and it makes you a reservation at the Olive Garden. That wouldn't be too cool.
nope.
Yeah. So it can't ever be wrong. One of Morgan's commitments is it's never wrong. So what that means is, like, when you ask Morgan a question, and that actually happened recently with Sam, and a loan officer from a competitor was trying to was trying to say that ChatGPT is better than Morgan. Oh, you don't need Morgan, you got ChatGPT. So he went and he tried to prove that point. He went into ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT what the San Bernardino County official loan limits are. And I'll give this to ChatGPT. It's blazing fast. It gave it back in a fraction of a second, but it gave the old county limits. So then Sam went and Morgan asked it. Morgan took a minute, but it gave the right county limits, like today's county limits. And so it's like, yeah, it's worth waiting the extra seconds if you get the right answer, especially when money is involved. And this is big money. So that's that's another question we get all the time. What's the difference between ChatGPT and Morgan?
ChatGPT can write you a poem.
and the poem could be all wrong. And it could be dangerous, and it expressly gives you a warrant. It gives you a notice saying I could be completely wrong. Right? The first thing that you have to accept is that notice that it gives you. Right. Whereas Morgan says I'm always right, and if I'm wrong, SunWest, which has deep pockets, will back me up. Okay. So, and how that warranty works is, so if you go to Morgan and if Morgan had given the wrong, like in Sam's situation, if Morgan had given the wrong loan limits, San Bernardino County, and then you submit that loan to SunWest would honor that. So if it given the loan limits too high, and there's, we'll see that, hey, Morgan's, it's the loan limit was 600,000 and the loan limit was 600,000 and Morgan said 650, right? SunWest is bound to 650. You submit the loan at 650, we will fund it. That means I end up with the loan. I end up with the $650,000 loan on my balance sheet, but that's what we'll do.
Did you ever think this would be your job?
What's that?
Creating AI.
That's a good question. And the answer is I've been trying to get this AI created since I was a kid, since the 80s. My first AI class, first college level AI class I took was at UC Irvine, machine learning class. It was an engineering class, and we went through all the differential equations and everything that this is back in 1987. I'm dating myself. And so, went through the whole modeling of how machine learning works and all that. And then recently, last month, I was a guest lecturer at Loyola Marymount for their graduate AI class, and I had a chance to review the syllabus and everything. And that was one thing was interesting was the syllabus of 2023 AI class, machine learning class, was nearly identical to the 1987 syllabus. I was like, whoa, they're teaching the same things, right? And the reason is that the science has not changed. It's the same exact science in the last 50 years. Nothing has changed. The first AI algorithm that was ever created was in 1952. First machine learning algorithm. So all that's changed is these really, really fast, what they call GPUs, these really fast, processors and huge amounts of memory, so that you can actually implement these algorithms that we couldn't do in 87. So to answer your question, the answer is yes, because it always seemed, because all the science was there, it always seemed, and everyone back then, if you were in technology, was talking about, AI is 2 years away. It was always like AI is 2 years away. We're almost there. Everything works. We're almost there. But, that 2 years became, 40 years. So, at SunWest, we were thinking about AI and we were collecting the data, because what you need to make AI work is you need the data, you need the scenarios and the training knowledge. So we were collecting, tagging, and organizing data since the 80s for this. And that's why we're years ahead. That's why no other lender has anything like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Keller Williams did something similar, because they owned all of their data all the way dating back to 1987. 6, and it was all
Mhm.
stored from all of their offices in one central location. I think the morning that they had the wake up call, that holy cow, we have an immense amount of data all stored in one place. That's valuable, right? That's exciting.
Yes.
Did you think it would take 40 years for it to come this far?
No, I was always, if I knew it was 40 years, I would have given up. It was always 2 years. It always seems 2 years away. But actually what happened
Okay, so
was,
I resemble that remark in growing a real estate company because it's the same thing. I some days think, wow, we're here and it's only 15 years. And other days I'm like, oh my God, this is all we've done in 15 years. I understand.
yeah, it goes back to what Eli was saying, it's always the darkest just before you're about to break through. Right.
Right.
And so the first version of Morgan was released in 2018. It was released internally to our loan officers, and back then we called it Virtual Assist. It worked. All the rules were there. You asked a question, gave the answer. It was a lot slower than what it is today. But it was there. It was working. And so after a year of it being in production, and seeing that it was basically flawless, that it never got it wrong, then we turn on the warranty like in 2019. So I've had the warranty that if Morgan is wrong, I will eat that loan. Okay, so that warranty has been in place since 2019. So here we are in 2023. Okay, and in that time period, Morgan's gotten more intuitive, more capabilities, faster, right? And it's going to get a whole lot faster, over the next 12 months, and a ton of capabilities. And now, of course, AngelAi will be released this year. So it's exciting. The trajectory is exciting, and yes, even in the last 4 years, there were times where it seemed like, oh my God, this is so hard. This is so hard, and the hardest part was trying to get people convinced that this is real. That frankly was the hardest part. It was like no one was like, because you chat with Morgan, right? It's a simple chat interface, right? So, just at the beginning, just a year ago, just trying to tell people, here's an AI that you chat with. People are like, what are you talking about? What do you mean chat? Right. And I was feeling so frustrated last year that all out of nowhere, suddenly everyone is talking chat GPT. Right. And
I can imagine.
right. And then all of a sudden, like the doors flew wide open for me, because where I couldn't get people to understand that chat is the future, that everything is going to be chat. Okay. And everyone at that time was thinking everything is going to be metaverse. Right.
Mhm.
And I was like, no, it's too hard. Metaverse is too awkward. It's not user friendly. So I was right, and Mark Zuckerberg was wrong. Boom.
Let it be known.
Let it be known. Yes. So So again, when it seemed like no one would ever understand, no one would ever get it, then this other thing happens out of left field, and it opened the doors wide open for me, and we've been exploding since then. It's so easy to get people to think about this now and say, okay, this must be something worth looking into.
Well, I would encourage people who might not fully understand how to use it now and who give up, to not give up, because I know that with technology, and as Morgan gets smarter and smarter and smarter, I don't want to say they'll miss out, but to a degree they'll miss out, right? They can pick it up at any time, and they'll be surprised at where the learning has come, but definitely don't give up.
Yeah.
Because it does get.
Yeah. And well, one of the nice things about those who jump on now, right, we're still at a size where we can have these kinds of conversations. Right. And Joanna has got front row seat in the direction and the development of Morgan. Right. Could you imagine having a front row seat in the direction development of Google or ChatGPT? Right. So this is the advantage of jumping on early. Is it? Will you find bugs? Yes. right?
I did.
Yes, you found a bug there, right? And will you find rooms for improvement? Absolutely. Right. I mean, one of the systems we use, we were one of the very early adapters of Gmail for our enterprise, Gmail and Google Docs. So when they first released Google Docs for enterprise, so we were one of the first customers on Google Docs about 15 years ago. And it was so buggy. There were so many things I didn't do right. But I was like, you know what, this is the feature. We'll stick with it. And now it's like Google Docs and Gmail is ubiquitous. Okay, I'm glad we stuck with it, and guess what? We locked in a contract with them that was like rock bottom price because we were early.
Yep.
Now it costs twice as much now to get into Google Enterprise. So that's the advantage of being, you got to have vision. You got to say, is this the way the world is headed? And if you think so, then jump in early. And the other question I get asked all the time is, why is Morgan free? Right. We have competitors using Morgan. I had a competitor at the conference come to me, a wholesale rep for a competitor, saying she uses Morgan to run FHA scenarios through because her underwriters don't return her calls. When her brokers ask her an FHA scenario, she asks Morgan. She gets the answers right away. Right? And I'm like, great, that's awesome. I say, please continue using it. Because and so why is it free? Why do we let people use it? First of all, if you work for a different mortgage company, you're not a competitor of my tech company, you're a customer. Because Morgan is owned and driven by my tech company. And more users that are on Morgan, the more valuable my tech company becomes. Second is the more you use it, the smarter Morgan gets, and you will help me find bugs and make it better and more solid, so that when AngelAi comes out, consumers all over the world are going to be thrilled and excited and will have the best imaginable experience.
So everybody wins.
That's right. I was going to say that too. It's a win for everyone.
And while we're talking about wins, one of the great wins that I'm really proud about that AI has brought to society is what it has done for fair lending. And if you could bring up that chart, Angel. And I was at the MBA conference in New York last 2 days, and I sat down with various banks and I showed them this, and they all, like, their jaws had dropped because they've been trying to deliver these numbers and they can't. And now they're like, okay, how do we get on this platform? So go ahead, Angel. You can explain.
So this chart, this is a study that Urban Institute did, and it's comparing turn down rates for all FICO scores across the country, broken down by minority groups. So the bar on the left of each color, you're seeing nationwide turn down rates, and then to the right, you're seeing what SunWest's turn down rate is. So you can see that and this is a direct result of using AI in underwriting, because it's able to scan through all of the client's documents, regardless how many documents they are, how complicated the situation may be, and compare it to strictly the program guidelines to find a way to make that loan work. So not only are we able to, as the data clearly shows, get more folks approved and into their homes, but it's also creating a equal experience for the clients, because their turn times are the same, whether it's a really cookie cutter easy file or one of those more complicated type files.
Yeah, I think the most important number here is we have equalized the decline rate. We have reduced the decline rate of African Americans to be almost identical to the national average white American decline rates. And that's not by doing loans that shouldn't be done, but that's by doing loans that should be done. Yeah, and so that's telling.
this is an amazing graph. Amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
And for all the realtors and loan officers that are watching this right now, think about all those deals that you've lost. Right? Think about all those deals that you turned away, that you thought, oh, this file is too thick, there's too much going on, I'll never get this approved. Right? Think about all that, because that's those commissions that you left, there's people that you could have helped that you didn't help.
Well, all the people who get one no, and they take it as gospel, right? They're like, oh, they told me no, so I can't. You might have had somebody that just gave you bad information, or that put something in wrong, made some sort of a mistake or an error. And so for me, I think I'd have to take any single person that said that they were declined, or that someone told them that they couldn't do the loan, and run it through this to get second opinion. Yes.
And that's a really good point. This is what we encourage realtors and loan officers all the time to do, is if you got a turn down, if you got a decline, take the same loan package, drop it into Morgan, and let's see what Morgan says. Okay. Morgan does a full file review in a couple hours. Worst case, we guarantee that the full file will be completed and decision by 8 a.m. the next morning.
So what if I'm a real estate agent and I don't have the full package, and I don't know a lender who uses Morgan? What do I do?
Well, you give Morgan whatever you have, and Morgan will reach out to the borrower and get the rest of the information.
Okay. That's a great answer.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually what happens is when you upload those leads, when you upload that list to Morgan, what Morgan will do was call all of them with the script that you gave, right? And as soon as they get a live person, a live customer on the phone, will immediately inform you. And if it's a buyer, Morgan will start the process of a full approval. It's no obligation to the buyer to get their loan, and a guarantee approval upfront. Okay.
I'm excited to be part of this and to see what the conversion rates are and how this works.
That's a good question, because what I'm seeing so far, and we've done tens of thousands of leads through the system from different realtors, we're seeing an average of about 2 appointments per 300 leads.
That's great.
Right. I mean, then that's not necessarily closing, but at least you got an appointment, right? So, and that's, half the work is getting the appointment. Then the second half is, getting them across the finish line. But that's 2 appointments that you wouldn't have otherwise. I mean, when we discussed this with Eloy, and he said that what made him successful, because he had a goal every day that he must, no matter how long it took, he will do 2 appointments every day. So if that means not going home till 1 in the morning, 1 in the morning, he will somehow set up 2 appointments every day. So I said, well, if Morgan's setting up 2 appointments for you, you're done. Your day is done.
Makes me think I need more numbers from Morgan to call.
Yeah.
Got to go find more.
Yes. What we recommend is every consumer you come in contact with, you just on the fly, just drop it into Morgan, and Morgan will just start nurturing and following up for you.
I appreciate your free service that I'm getting for free right now. And I know it might not always be, but I'm not going to be a complainer at all if it's ever glitchy. It makes me think of the time I was part of a luncheon club, and we would sponsor it and give out free tickets to lunch, and people would complain if lunch took a little bit longer, or they didn't like something on the menu. And I wanted to ask so bad, how much did you pay for your lunch ticket? Right? Nothing.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, Joanna. I want you to complain. Okay, and this is how Morgan works, because the whole point of this is we want Morgan to learn and get better, because we want all of these things to be perfect before AngelAi is released, because consumers have no tolerance for any glitches or any of any sort. Okay, so
I'm not hesitant to give feedback. I'm just not going to be a complainer.
Yeah, and so here's the catch. Here's how you get feedback to Morgan. You just tell her. When you right, so Morgan's feedback is in itself through the AI. You tell Morgan, hey, I'm not happy the way this worked out. Or I'm not happy, this response took long, or I don't understand what you just said, or whatever. And there's something they call empathetic technology. It's analyzing what you tell her all the time, and it's analyzing your mood, and it's detecting if a customer is not satisfied. And from those detections, it's automatically escalated to the engineering team.
That's
It's
cool.
pretty, it is very cool. Right.
So cool.
Right. So, and if you haven't had a chance yet, go into Morgan and ask her if she loves you. You'll love the answer. Next time you're in Morgan. But in the meantime, I think some people are asking, how do you get, can you show the audience how to get into Morgan and just like how to get started?
Sure. Let me log out because I was already talking to Morgan. All right. Well, the good news is using Morgan, getting to Morgan is very, very simple. You're just going to bring up your web browser, which is what I'm doing now. And you'll just go to usemorgan.com. This is the landing page. This is what you're going to see, and you hit Let's Chat. And from there, apologies, my computer goes a little slow when I'm live streaming. But from there, it should already look pretty familiar, the layout, because it is, as Pavan was saying earlier, it is laid out just like a chat. So if you've never used Morgan, the first thing she's going to ask you is your name. And then she's going to say, oh, you're going to consent to the terms and conditions. And then she's going to say, how can I help you? And you can get started from there. My top recommendation for getting started with Morgan, so I wasn't typing, is when she asks how she can help you the first time, say, create account. Because when you have an account with Morgan, a few things happen. One, Morgan starts to get to know you. So Morgan will have your contact information, in the cases that she doesn't have the immediate answer for you. If you close out your Morgan window, she's going to text and email you when the answer is available. So as you're providing your information to Morgan, your license number, the company you work for, address, that you might use in marketing materials she makes for you, things like that, Morgan's going to remember you. So that's one reason I say just start out by creating your account. Another is you can access all your Morgan conversations from anywhere. And I said all your Morgan conversations because you can have multiple going all at once. So on the right-hand side, if I hit new errand, name it whatever you want, hit create task, and then you have a blank conversation. So you can be asking Morgan as many things, telling her to do as many things as you want all at once by using the errands. She is an excellent multitasker. So when you move from your computer to your cell phone, go to usemorgan.com and just tell her authenticate. And then she is going to verify those details from your account, and all your conversation history will populate.
So you can move from your tablet to your computer to your cell phone, and it goes along with you.
Yep. So very simple to do. However, any new system, technology, best way to get used to it and understand it is just to get your feet wet and use it. We do offer workshops. They're live small group workshops that you can join to just get some practice in Morgan, get a better understanding of how you can implement Morgan into your business. In the workshops that we keep them really small groups, so you're able to have that interaction with a certified Morgan trainer. So if you're interested in that, just go to usemorgan.com and say workshop. She'll get you registered for the next available session.
Yes, these workshops are great, and I think we're going to be opening up a second session, 2 sessions a day, because the first ones are now completely full for the next 2 weeks. So we have them every day at 11, and we're going to start a second one now, daily, second time slot. And they're small workshops, and they're very interactive, and they actually get you very hands-on and past that initial barrier.
Yeah, just like Joanna, you said it earlier, you kind of put off doing it because it is with anything that's new is a little intimidating, and you just assume by nature that there's gonna be a learning curve and this is gonna be difficult, and then you jumped in and saw how easy it was, right?
It was really easy. Like I really overthought it. So it was really easy. I just needed to export and upload or attach, and it was that easy. So yeah.
Yep. And just to put things in perspective, like I think it was in March of this year, ChatGPT was down for almost 2 weeks straight. AI is the bleeding edge of technology. We've had a little bit of downtime, but never anything like that. And most of the downtimes have been on weekends when we're doing maintenance. So if you do hit a glitch, let Morgan know, hey, I don't like this, and Morgan will keep track of it, and the engineers will be informed. But of all the glitches that people have hit, the one thing that Morgan has never gotten wrong is the answers. Right? And that's the most important, because it's people's lives at stake here. There's real money at stake. You can't get the answers wrong. So the number one glitch I see people hitting, that something takes longer than expected. Something that should take and come back in a minute, maybe took 3-4 minutes. And usually what happens there, it's the AI gets confused and goes into what I call extra spin rinse cycles, and is having the humans who augment it check more than once on the answer for whatever reason. Its engine is saying, I don't like the answer. I don't like the answer. Double check, double check, double check.
And then the answer that you do get is correct, which
Right.
is most important. I was thinking about it earlier, and when you think of Morgan as your personal assistant, imagine you're sending an instant message or a text message to your assistant, find out the answer to this question or do this for me. You're not like upset that they don't in seconds respond. You know that they're working on it and they're going to get back to you, so you move on to other things. And that's exactly how I'll use Morgan. Is I'll start a new errand, ask a question, start a new errand, ask my next question, or make my next request, and lo and behold, I've got my answers there waiting for me. So
and the key is trust, right? And a good personal assistant, that I'm sure, Joanna, you have an assistant that you trust, is that you give your assistant a task or a request, and that they just understand what you mean and it's going to get done. And you also know that if they don't really understand what you mean, they're going to ask you more questions. Okay, and that's the other reason to create an account. When you go to Morgan, that's the other reason. The first thing you should do is create an account, because that's how Morgan learns about you, about your specific style. Okay, so when you create an account, it starts learning about your habits, and you can start talking to Morgan more in your way, and it'll start learning your nuances. So it'll start understanding what you mean. Right? It's very interesting that way. And second half of it is you can definitely trust it because there's real money behind it. Even if your assistant, if you're a loan officer watching this and you give your assistant a pay stub and she gets the calculation or he gets the calculation wrong, right? You're kind of like, okay, you're going to have to go deal with that with the borrower. Okay. But if Morgan gets the calculation wrong, SunWest is still going to fund that loan. Right. So your assistant can't write you a check, but SunWest can. So there's a big difference in like the just having that big balance sheet and checkbook behind behind your assistant changes the whole paradigm.
And she's never out sick. She never goes on vacation. So
I appreciate how much you value correctness.
Yeah. I've been a loan officer, so I get it. And I don't know if you know this, but my parents, we made all our money in real estate. My mom was the #1 listing agent in that in Bellflower Lakewood area.
Wow.
This is back in the 70s. And the other thing, especially the last couple of years, and what we were just talking about real estate, the biggest mistakes I've ever made is selling real estate. It's the worst ideas.
Hold it.
Hold it. Right? Especially right now in a high inflation environment, buy real estate and hold it. Because I don't see anything that's going to drive real estate prices down. I just don't see that happening. Other than nuclear war with Russia.
Oh, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that doesn't happen.
Right.
So,
Or if this debt ceiling thing doesn't get resolved, then all bets are off. I have no idea what's going to happen then. But I think
we are right at the end of our time here, but I want to check in, Pavan. Was there anything in the chat that we should address before
let me just double check. I think we're looking good on the chat. And we answered all of everyone's questions. And Joanna, you were a wonderful guest.
thank you for having
Thank you
me.
so much for joining and providing all of that insight. Very nice to have you on the call. I'm sure our audience enjoyed it as well.
I always appreciate the time I get to spend with you too. So thank you.
Cheers.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.